Hello everybody, welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2018 action film Accident Man. Now this is a film that is directed by Jessie V. Johnson and it stars Scott Atkins, Ray Stevenson, Ashley Greene, David Paymer, Michael J. White and Ray Park. Now this film is also co-written by Scott Atkins and it's based on a comic book, and to be fair, I've not heard of the comic book before seeing this film. Now what made me interested in watching this film was I recently found on YouTube Scott Atkins' YouTube channel and I was watching a little bit of his content and he was talking about some of his movies. Just gonna close that there. There we are. Yes, so he was talking about some of his movies, quite in depth as well. It was quite interesting, and one of them he was talking about was this one, Accident Man. So by watching him talk very honestly about some of his movies and things like that, I thought, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm gonna watch some of his movies that I am aware of but I've never seen. So I have seen some Scott Atkins films in the last couple of years. I've reviewed some on this channel. I've not been massively impressed with some of them, to be perfectly honest. The only one that really stands out in my mind as being actually very, very good indeed was last year's Avengement, the prison film. That was fantastic, I've got to admit. So I thought I'm going to track down and see if I can find some more gems in Scott Atkins' back catalogue in regards to his films. Now, Accident Man, like I say, it's based on a comic and it focuses on Scott Adkins' character Mike, who is an assassin. He's a hitman, and his speciality is when he kills people he makes it look like an accident, that there's been no foul play at all, and that's his absolute specialty. Now he then discovers that an ex-girlfriend of his, who he's still got feelings for, has been killed, and the hallmarks of this hit looks like people that he knows, and he begins to unravel what is going on and why she was taken out, and he's not going to stand for it at all, but his investigation keeps leading him further up the top of the chain, which is a big no-no for the profession that he is in. Right, so what are my thoughts on Accident Man? I quite enjoyed this film, I'm not going to lie. What interested me was when I was watching his YouTube channel and he was talking about this film, he said he thought it had been unfairly compared to Deadpool and John Wick, and the reason why he thought it was unfair was because the comic book that this film is based on predates both of those things. However, there is no getting around it that this film has very much a feel of Deadpool and John Wick. That's just the way it is, and that's probably, you might think it's unfair, but I don't actually think that's an unkind comparison, to be honest. It almost feels like this is a bit like John Wick in London, almost. It's a fun film. It tries to be humorous occasionally. There are a couple of humorous characters, and by what I mean there is there's like a base of operations which is a pub that is run by Ray Stevenson, who taught Mike everything, Scott Adkins' character, and there's all these really cliched characters in this pub of hitmen, really over the top, really cartoonish hitmen. So you've got Michael J. White and Ray Park, these ex Special Forces guys, very cliched. You've got the woman with a samurai sword, cliched. You've got a guy that poisons people. You've got a big brute that just axes people to death, and you've got another really weird guy who he does whatever he can to kill people. He's just not very good at it. So you've got all these really cartoonish, cliched characters in this pub. Now that's fun, and some of them are actually quite funny, but it doesn't level the film in any way. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit odd, and even though it's based on a comic book, the film isn't filmed in like a comic book style. For example, the film that I saw a few years ago, The Losers, that was based on a comic book, and that was made to feel a bit comic booky in the way it was filmed and stylized. Obviously the same with films like Deadpool and even John Wick. You know what I mean? It's hyper stylized violence in that sort of film, and this doesn't feel like that. It's a fun film, but it's not. I don't know. It doesn't seem to fit the film they're trying to make. If that kind of makes sense. Now, Scott Adkins is obviously a very, very talented martial artist. That is absolutely clear. And in this film, the fight scenes are absolutely on point. There's some really, really impressive fight scenes. The one that stands out for me is a confrontation between Scott Adkins and Ray Park, who played Darth Maul in Star Wars, and Michael J. White. All three of them very accomplished martial artists, very talented martial artists, all three of them. And a really, really great sequence that seems to go on forever. There's another great sequence later in the film. I think it's Amy Johnson, the one with the samurai sword. There's quite a good fight scene between her and Scott Adkins. In fact, all the fight scenes stand out. They're all impressive. They're all fun. They're all creative. So that part of the film really, really works. I just think, I don't know, I kind of expected a little bit more, to be perfectly honest. It was fun and I enjoyed it. It just was, it felt like, I don't know, a little bit of a step down from what I was expecting, and certainly a step down from things like Deadpool and John Wick. It feels like a bit of a, and I don't want this to sound disrespectful, bit of a bargain basement version of both of them films, if you like. So that's my review for Accident Man. I do believe that Accident Man 2 is in production, and it's just been delayed due to the coronavirus, but there is going to be an Accident Man 2 coming, so I will probably check that out when it does eventually get released. And in the meantime, I'm going to try and catch up with a few more Scott Adkins films. I want to watch his Undisputed films, and I'm also going to catch up probably with the Debt Collector films, so let's see what they're like. So let me know in the comments if you know of any really good Scott Adkins films, and I'll try and seek them out and check them out as well and give them a review. So thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you back here obviously for more content and reviews on Screen Stars very, very soon.